Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, November 23rd, and it is time for another Facebook Live. I am going to share this to my group in case somebody is looking for it there. I'll give you a minute to find me. We're still in Christmas mode. We won't be in Christmas mode for too much longer, but we're still in Christmas mode here. There we go. So I am going to attempt to do like a 12 days of Christmas video series. It won't be lives. I'm planning to just like pre-record 12 days of Christmas and just show different Christmas stamp sets. I'll probably be focusing on the ones that are retiring so that you know what do you want to go ahead and get. And then I may be using a tool or something that would be a good idea, good Christmas gift idea for a stamper. So that's my plan. We'll see if I can get it all done. Sorry, I can't talk and run my computer at the same time. All right, we're almost there. I hope you all are ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. We're going to have a quiet Thanksgiving here. Neither of our boys are going to be home, so it's just going to be Wayne and I. So we're just going to have a quiet day, watch a lot of football or movies or whatever we decide, and I plan to get a lot of stitching done. So, all right, I think we've got it shared now. Yes, there we go. All right, we can get started. So as every week, anybody who comments on this video here on Facebook will be in the drawing to win this card next week. Last week I did these two cards, which were using the Santa's Express cards and envelopes, which are gone already. They've sold out. And the Memories and More cards, which are still available. And I think they are heavily on sale. So I went through today and marked up my catalog with everything that's retiring. There's a lot going away. So like I said, I will try and share that with you starting the 1st of December. So the Memories and More card pack is half price, $6. The cards and envelopes already gone. So if that's something you've been thinking about getting, don't delay any longer. I have not checked today. This was yesterday I was checking. But I will tell you at the end who won these cards. So that was from last week. And tonight we are using, this is a Hostess stamp set that you can get out of the mini catalog with Hostess rewards that you get. And so I won this at Kay's Retreat, and I didn't have it already, so that was fun. I've been able to play with it a little bit. And then the other stamp set that was used for the sentiment is the Framed and Festive. And I know I've shown you the, what are they called? Framed florets, festive framed florets. There is a bundle, stamp set and dies, that are going to be in the new mini catalog starting in January. They are available now. Those will be available now through the mini catalog. This stamp set and the Designer Series paper are only available while supplies last. The gold swirly things, embellishments, already gone. So we can't get those anymore. So this and the Designer Series paper, if you want that, I wouldn't delay because they're only available while supplies last. So this was the Fa La La. And then I used one other thing. So this is the one that Patience made for swap, and it's beautiful. She cut the words, the tree, the mouse, the light pole, and then cut a little hill here. So I decided to make mine a little bit simpler, and I only cut the mouse and a hill. But for the hill, what I used were these basic borders dies, and mine stick everywhere because I have washi tape on them to kind of hold them straight when I'm cutting. But this is a great set of dies, but I used this It looks like clouds, but to me it also looked like snowbanks. So that's what I used to cut my little piece. They're going everywhere. I should just put them on a magnet. That would be easier. So that's what I used. That's the only thing I used different than what Patience did. All right, so let's get started here. And I realize I may not have anybody joining me live because everybody's getting ready for Thanksgiving, but that's okay. You can catch the replay later. So I already have all my little pieces cut. This is what we're going to stamp our mouse on. This is our background that we're going to stamp everything else on, and our little hill. So let's do our stamping first. Oh, I didn't have any of these stamps mounted and ready. Shame on me. So we need our little mouse, and we need our Christmas tree, and we need our light pole, and we need the ground and the snow. Grab some blocks. Mouse. All right, one more. And then, I think that's all out of this stamp set. And then we need our sentiment out of the other one. La la la. Okay. There. Now we're ready to stamp. So I'm going to put all of these aside for the moment and just concentrate on the things I'm going to color. So I'm going to do my light pole and move that out of the way so I don't get any ink on it. So this is Memento Black, and you can be a little more firm with it because it is a different type of stamp pad than the regular Stampin' Up! Ones. So I'm just going to kind of hold that there for a minute, make sure all that ink transfers. So there's our light pole, and then our tree. So we'll put it, where did I put it? About there, maybe. And I'm doing these first so they can get good and dry before we start coloring them with our blends. All right, so that will set aside for the moment. And then our mouse, we're just going to stamp on this piece of scratch paper because we're going to cut him out. There we go. All right. Oh, we need our sentiment. Let's do it too. Well, we've got our Memento Black out. Kind of setting those stamps aside so I don't get black ink all over me. There. All right, now I think we are done with that. And then Balmy Blue is the other color we're going to use. And I used the Snowflake. So this is kind of like Patience did. She did snowflakes all over. But she could do it better than I could because hers is cut out and put on top. Whereas I have to be a little bit careful because I don't want to put any in the middle of my light or in the middle of my tree. So I just have to be a little more careful. Let's do it there. It can go across the light pole. I don't care. Stamp another one off. All right. Oh, we need some over here. There. All right. It's snowing a little bit more in this one than it was in that one. And then you're not going to see all of this, but I wanted to be sure that my lamppost and my tree were grounded. And that's probably all I need to do on that one. And then while we have this, I'm going to keep that handy though, because we're going to need that. And I'm going to take my blending brush, move my mouse out of the way. So I've just got my Balmy Blue, and I like to start off the paper and then roll onto it. And I'm doing this just so it has a little definition between this and what's behind it. So you can see I'm gonna do a little bit on here too. So that just makes it show up better against that other paper. All right, and now, oh yeah, and I'm gonna do some on this too. So again, I have to be a little more careful because my light pole, my lamp post, whatever you want to call it, is not going to be cut out. So I don't want to be putting ink on top of it or my tree. But I'm doing a little bit more on this one than I did on the last one. And it'll just kind of make it look like it's glowing around the lamppost. Oh yeah, I like that better than my first one. Yep, whoever gets this is going to get the better card. Got more color to it. I like that. Okay, I think that's probably good. Oh, wait, one more thing with that ink. So then I didn't want my mouse to be just standing like he wasn't on ground either. So I took that same, I keep getting turned here, ground stamp. And I'm just going to stamp some ground on here. That way the mouse will not be standing in the middle of nowhere. Okay. I think that is all the stamping. So I am going to grab my scissors. I'm going to cut the mouse out before I color him. And the reason I'm going to do this is the same reason I would die cut anything before I color it. If something happens and I slip and I cut him up horribly, I don't want to have already spent the time coloring him. So that's why I'm just going to cut him out first. And you'll notice as I'm doing this, I'm turning the paper and not my scissors. And I'm leaving a little bit of white around there. And if you've watched me before, this is called fussy cutting. So if you've watched me fussy cutting before, you've heard this. And lots of demonstrators will tell you the same thing. Leave a little bit of white around it when you're doing something like this. Because then your eyes just see this stamped outline and they don't see if you cut it really perfectly or not. Your eyes just see that stamped outline. So he's not bad to cut out. Now if I had to do the other mice, there's like 3 of them, that would take a little bit longer, but it wouldn't be hard. So you probably can't see, but I have paper off to the right. It's my basic black layer and the Balmy Blue layer, and I keep thinking it's my stamp pad that's open over there. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to get in that. And I'm like, nope, that's just my paper. But because it's dark, that black cardstock makes me think it's the stamp pad. All right, around his little hat. And his nose. And then sometimes I will just cut off extra like that. Don't want to lose my snowbank here. And that just makes it a little easier to handle too. Oh, almost got too close on his nose. All right, another little hand to go around. So yeah, he's not bad. Almost. Then we'll do our coloring. There we go. Get this out of the way now too. We're done inking and all that. All right, so now we are ready to color. So I'm going to start with, I don't know why, this is just what I'm going to start with. This is Dark Daffodil Delight, and that's what I used for my lamp. So I'm just going to color the inside of that. And I'm not going to try and shade this at all. I'm just going to color it this Dark Daffodil Delight. There we go. And I will go back and put some Wink of Stella on that in a little bit. And then our bows, I am using Real Red. So I've got dark and light Real Red. And lately I have been doing my blending a little bit different. So I've been starting with my dark. There's no right or wrong way to do this, but this seems to be working better for me right now. So I put some dark in there, and then I'm going to come back with my light and then blend that out and color the rest of it. But for some reason that seems to be getting it where I don't have any sharp lines. So it's just working better for me right now, but like I said, there's no right or wrong. And with the red, it may be a little bit hard to see, but there is some variation there. And then I'm going to color his scarf the same color, so Real Red. Again, I will take and do my dark first. Just a little line there as a shadow, and then a little bit here as a shadow. Go back with my light. Try and keep my fingers out of the way and blend that out. All right. There's all of our Real Red. All right, let's see what's next. Let's do the mouse next. So, whoops, not that. Not that. Here it is. So I'm using Smoky Slate. So I'm going to take make sure I have my dark Smoky Slate. I think I'll use this. No, I'm going to use the brush end. And Stampin' Up! Has been real good about giving you lines to show you where you might want to put it a little darker. And I liked the way Patience made the outside of his ear darker. And then down here up the top of his legs would be shadowed. And I think I'll put a little bit here too of the dark. Okay. Then I will go in with the light and just color the rest of it, blending it in with that dark. Try not to color his hat because we don't want a gray hat. And I'm going to color right over his mouth. I'll color on top of it again, but it doesn't matter. I can do that. There's not a lot to blend down there. Color his little feet. All right. And then I'm going to switch over to the small end and color his little hands. And this is still the light in his tail. There we go. Okay. Now let's do his sweater. So again, I'm going to go in with my light. Like right here where it would be shadowed by the scarf. This one I don't put a lot on, just a little bit right there. And then go back in with the light. And color all of that. Blending out that dark, so you just have some nice shadows. These blends make it really easy to look like an artist. And then I'm going to color his hat. And I think what I did was I colored the whole thing with the light. This is Balmy Blue. I can't remember if I told you that. That's what our card base is, or one of our layers is. And then I went back with the dark and just colored that middle one, just for a little bit of, whoops, variation. All right. Well, I'm going to wait and do that. So he's done, except for a little Wink of Stella that I'll do, but we'll do that in a minute. So now I have my light basic black blend. You could use the dark one, but then I was afraid you wouldn't see any of those lines that were stamped. So I'm going to use my light. So on this, I'm not going to do any shading. I'm just going to color the whole thing with this light basic black. Definitely using the small end on this. It's got some skinny parts. Let's see if I can do this without making a mess. And you guys know if I mess up the one I'm demonstrating, I always give you a good one. I don't send you a messed up one. That wouldn't be very nice. And I'll show you when I get done coloring. You do want to be sure you have something underneath your paper when you're coloring with your blends, because they will bleed through this cardstock. And that also means I couldn't just color, I couldn't just take a white card and stamp and color on it, because you would see it on the other side. So that's why you always want to do it on a separate piece of white like this. All right, do our pole. All right, we are almost done coloring. I almost forgot my tree trunk when I was making this the other day. This is soft suede, I think, light soft suede. This one, he's a little bit lower, so you might not see it, but just to be safe, we'll color it, because we certainly wouldn't want it to look like there was no color in the tree trunk. All right, so this is my dark, I think it's Old Olive I'm using. Yes, dark Old Olive. So again, Stampin' Up! Has kind of given us some places, and then I'm going to put a little bit of shadow under some of these branches. So just a little bit to give it some interest. And I'll take my light and just color the whole thing. It'll kind of blend in those dark spots, and we'll just give it some variation in the color. Because real trees aren't just one color, they have lights and dark areas. Then this is the last thing we have to color. We'll add a little bit of Wink of Stella, and then we will be ready to put everything together. There. I think that's such a cute tree. Okay. Wink of Stella. Last thing. So I decided that our lamppost, our light, needed Wink of Stella on the yellow part, because it's glowing, of course. And then I decided the pom-pom on the mouse needed Wink of Stella. Now this will probably be hard for you to really see. This is always hard to pick up on camera. I don't know why. Wink of Stella is, you can see a little bit there maybe, but it just makes it really shimmery. All right, so now we have all of our pieces, and we're ready to put it all together. So I'm going to put this on here first. And I'm going to use my liquid glue so I can adjust it if I need to a little bit. And if it's going to cover up, I think it'll be okay. But if it was going to cover up too much of the tree, you could just put it down a little bit and then cut it off the bottom. But that worked pretty well. And also, if it was a little bit too wide, you know, if you ended up cutting it a little bit too wide, you could cut off the edge. All right, so now we're ready. I have my, there it is. I was like, I know I have this somewhere, to put all these pieces together. there's what I was going to show you. See how that bled through? So you would want, and the mouse will be the same way. So you would want to be sure you had something underneath your work surface when you're doing these blends. So this I'm going to layer on just a real, yeah, it's a normal border, like 1/4 inch on each side, I think, of black, just so it'll make those colors pop. I'm getting down to the end of this. We'll see if it lasts. And then this goes on Balmy Blue. This is all, I'm just putting it down flat, but my mouse, oops, I'm going to pop up. Whew, made it. Wow. And so this is a thick basic white card base. If you are using basic white or vanilla for a card base, you want to be sure you use the thick, because the regular white would be too flimsy for a card base. So that's a lot sturdier. And then we just need to put our mouse on with a couple of dimensionals. We are done. So not quite as fancy as Patience, but if you don't have time to do all of that cutting, here's a little bit simpler version you can do. And it still turns out cute. So there you go. There's our card for tonight. So there's the one that Patience made that I copied from, and here's ours. So like I said, somebody will win this next week. So as you watch this later, be sure and comment so that you can win that. I was going to show you, in case you didn't get to come to class, we made tags Monday night. Actually, this one's better. It's cut. I cut the ribbons on that one. Monday night, we had a tag class. So they made 12 tags. And this one they did 2 blue, or 2 green and 2 red, just because I didn't think I had enough of the red for everything. And then a snowflake one. So we made those in class Monday night. Whoops. Let me scoot that down a little bit so you can actually see them better. So that was a lot of fun. Like this one, the only stamping, I didn't do it on this one, was on the back. So there wasn't a lot of stamping, but there were some pieces to assemble. The next class I'm going to have, and I don't have it designed yet. That's on my agenda for this weekend, but I put, here it is. But we are going to use the Snowman Magic bundle. This is retiring. And I thought, well, I could do, like that one says, thanks, Snow Much. So you could do, my plan is to not do Christmas cards with it. You could do birthday cards for friends that have birthdays, or a thank you card, or just, you know, not a thinking of you necessarily, because it's kind of a whimsical set to be sending, but just because, you know, like a hello or something. So this is what we'll be using in class. It'll be a week from tomorrow, and I will get the Facebook event up on Friday. I'm taking tomorrow off from my stamping business. So if you send me anything tomorrow, I won't see it until Friday. So I can just spend the day with my husband. We can just eat and watch TV. All right. Oh, I need to tell you who won these. I knew there was one more thing. So these were the ones that we made last week. These were super, super quick and easy. And the winner is, where did I write it? I think I wrote on the envelope, Nancy. So I will get these to Nancy. I think she's coming to the team meeting, to my team meeting on Tuesday. So I'll give them to her then, since they're kind of an odd shape, and I don't want to mail them in these envelopes because then she doesn't have them to use. So, all right. That is it for this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a very wonderful Thanksgiving and get to spend time with friends or family, eat lots of good food, and I will see you next week. Bye.